the quote goes, family are the ones that typically trigger you the most because they created your trigger buttons. I'm like, that's the truest thing ever. You know, we're not calling anybody bad here. We're not calling anybody bad, wrong. This is so not about shaming or blaming anybody. Like, not at all. We get triggered, or we, you know, our families, you know, created those trigger buttons just simply out of their own unconscious programming, right? That passed right on to us. That's it. So it's not the way I like to talk about this, and the way I move with it, the way I have moved with it with my own family, and the way I work with my clients with it. It's not, think of it less as just not having the triggers. Triggers can lessen over time, and I'll get into that, but think about it less about not having triggers is just change your relationship with triggers, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. Let me check on the comments here. So you can teach yourself to respond. Yes. Right. Yeah, we grow in awareness. So first step for me is just be mindful that your triggers are there. You know, so like it's going to happen. I really do think that the more awareness and the more work you do this over time, the less loud the triggers will be. That has for sure been the case for me. But just being aware that they're there. Because why do triggers happen in family anyway? Well, it's because you were raised by these people and they were your first attachment figures, aka your first route to safety according to the brain. These people keep me safe. So the subconscious programming that's developed within us all unconsciously, especially from ages 0 to 7, is that I better conform really quick to whatever's happening in here, because if I do that, then I'll stay safe, because they'll keep feeding me, they'll keep clothing me, they'll keep sheltering me. And so anything outside of that box becomes dangerous. Right, so the brain is going to recognize these people as your first kind of attachment figures. So when you're with them now as an adult, it's very common, you know, that it's still, the subconscious still feels that they are your key to safety. Right, like there's survivor parts in you that still look at them and go, I can only stay safe if I make this person happy, or if I appease this person, or if I play small so I don't bruise this person's ego. Is this making sense? This is the same tape that gets replayed onto adult romantic relationships. And really it can be any relationship, but romantic relationships really mimic and mirror the first attachment relationships. So it's the same dynamic that plays out, but it tends to be really strong when it's the attachment figure. Like the original, the OG attachment figure. Okay, so just becoming aware. Just becoming aware. I love to even deepen that awareness. Like, okay, what part of you is being triggered? And this is great work that's done within a group or with a therapist or a coach. Like, what is it? It's usually probably like a wounded inner child, or maybe it's an angry teenager. With me, with family a lot, it can be a number of parts. Usually it triggered that little wounded inner girl that feels like she's not good enough, not doing enough. I'm not helping enough, I'm not being enough. So just become super aware. This is the work of being in the observer. Like really being in that observer, that witness place. Like that's the real you. You're the connection with the divine, with God, Goddess, Source, however you like to think about it. That's you. What's being triggered is not that, it's a part of you. Is this making sense? So my big message here with this is to just simply become aware. You know, change your relationship with triggers. They're gonna happen. Okay. Let's not make that a bad thing. We're in human relationship. Like, that those triggers are a part of it. It's just, yeah, what's our relation with these triggers? How do we move through them? When I first started really doing this work, because it really means a lot to me to be around my family. Like my mom and I are close, right? So, okay, but how do I be with family without just like losing my mind in the first few minutes because I'm triggered so much? Maybe once you start becoming aware of these triggers, like just increase your awareness. So like you're slowing down, like, oh, there it is. Okay, being triggered. Okay, what's the story being created by these triggers? A big thing that I did, and this may take some courage for you, or it might feel easier, go excuse yourself. Just go to the bathroom for a minute. Or, you know, when at family's house, you know, we have a guest room. I'm just going to go excuse myself, self-soothe, breathe, tend to my inner child, realign, breathing, self-soothing. Put your hand here, you know, just on your chest and on your womb space. Just breathe it through. There's lots of other tools here, but that would get a little bit deeper. I'm going to go back and look at some comments here. This is resonating a lot. I'm seeing a lot of comments come through. I stopped going around my family because I have great expectations. Except my siblings have no respect for me. And look, there's no right way to do this. There's no right way. There's no right or wrong way. So, I'll make sure y'all can hear me. There's a truck going by. No right or wrong way whatsoever. So if it feels safer to not even be around family, you can do that too. Yep, I feel like very close friends also trigger me because I see them as family. Yeah, any close relationship, what the brain does is, the survival brain, I should say, more that reptilian and mammalian brain, because their programming is, I'm only safe in tribe. And yes, like human beings, we are designed for tribe. We are wired for tribe. Yes, that's true. The survival part of the brain takes that to such an extent, though, that I will literally die right now if these people don't like me. And that is more based on any unresolved childhood trauma that we just get to release from our bodies. Because when it's still in our bodies, it's still operating. So it will pick out, you know, basically to your lower brain, your good friends and your partner, whoever you consider close, they might as well be your family. Because what the brain does is, as soon as you decide that this person is important to you, your old mechanisms want to come out and play to help you stay safe, or what it thinks is going to keep you safe. So, okay, I better conform. I better people please. I better be exactly who they want me to be. Or I better make myself small. Whatever that old tape is, like, this is how I stay safe in relationship. Those parts will want to come out and play, if that makes sense. Yes, 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 yes. Looking at some comments here. Nice is a narcissistic. Yeah, okay, so we're talking about narcissistic mothers being nice is a narcissistic trap with her. I can't even tell her I love her without something like, I don't believe you. Ooh, yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's hard. And just remember, too, that there's no one right way. There are some family that I see and want to be around. There's some family I don't. So I've made the decision and the discernment, and both my husband and I have done this with his and my side of the family. There's just some family we don't want to see. And we can be in the practice now of not making them bad or wrong. They are just in such their survival place that their behaviors are harmful to us, and it's not worth it to us. We don't feel like it's going to go anywhere if we try to engage, or it's just a not emotionally safe place for us to be. So we just don't go there. With other family, it is. We can have conversations. If something goes wrong, we can talk about it. Now it's our parents, like it's our moms, so we get triggered. I'm sure they do, like everybody gets triggered with family, but with some family, for us, it feels much safer to engage. So you just get to make that decision. Let's see. Just love reading your comments and your insights. Respond. Yes, being triggered and how we respond are two different things. Yes. Exactly. Yep, I totally agree. So the comment here is we can be triggered, yes, but observe it and choose consciously how to react to it. Yes, being triggered is one thing. How you respond is a totally different thing. Yep, totally agree. Like the trigger, again, like that's choosing a conscious relationship with your triggers. They're going to happen. When I get the question from my clients of how do I not be triggered, it's like, okay, well, how do you go through a day without breathing? I don't know. And the more conscious relationship you choose with your triggers, the more you choose how to respond. Like the more differently you engage with them, the more you're becoming your own parent. Okay, so you're changing your brain. The more you become your own self-soothing, wise inner parent, the less over time those triggers may even show up. Does that make sense? I've seen that, I've witnessed that within myself, that triggers can calm down. There are situations now that I go into that I would have been triggered out the wazoo 10 years ago, and now I don't hear anything. Or if I do, it's very, very light. And this is deeper, like internal parts work. The more you are working with your parts, the more you're working with your inner child, the more your inner child is going to learn to trust you. The more your inner child learns that you are a safe place to be, the less she is going to try to reach out to these attachment figures on the outside. Okay, so that's really, really important. So the more, and yes, the more you deal with your triggers, the more you self-soothe, the more you excuse yourself so you can go breathe, or you can go scream into a pillow, or whatever it is that you need to do to take care of you, the more your inner child sees that you're the safe space now. And the less she will be pulled to try to maybe mom's the safe place, maybe this person's the safe place, maybe that person, maybe this partner, maybe that friend. Does that resonate? Does that resonate? All right, let me scoot down, let's see. Yeah. Yes. So I feel compassion toward them, yes. And love them, yes. And don't accept the behavior. Point. On point. On point. On point. Yes. Yes, you can have compassion. You can have unconditional compassion and love for a person and not allow the behavior to be in your space. Drawing a healthy boundary is always a loving action for everybody. For everybody. It's me saying to these, this family over here in California I don't see anymore. It says that the way I can do you the best service is for me not to be around you. And that's how I do my best service to me. And that is helping the all. Okay, so I can love you. I can send you so much love. I can send you unconditional love and really, truly believe that. I'm in a space now where I actually do feel that. What helps me to feel that is not being in the space where I know harmful behaviors are. I get to protect myself in that way. And it's easier for me in that way to have loving energy because I'm still human. Yes, you just don't have to allow the behavior into your field. The less I'm tied to the old paradigm of family relations, it's easier to calm my nervous system. Yes, and hopefully learn not to feel that danger. Yeah, so the more you shift back into yourself and you do new things for you, that reparenting stuff, you are definitely helping your nervous system. For sure. And the more you help your nervous system to know what it feels like to be calm and safe, the easier it is to discern what's safe and what's not out there. Does that make sense? Yes. Mom triggered me recently. I was able to tell her this, and she eventually respected me for it. Yeah, excellent. it's always, to me, it's just always a nice bonus when they're able to hear you. And it can be a reciprocal conversation. That can absolutely happen. I've told you all before that between my mom and me, you know, like there was a point where I just didn't know, but I knew I was going to start speaking my truth. And I cared enough about myself at that point too. I was okay with whatever happened after that. It would have been devastating to lose the relationship. But I learned to love myself enough, and it went great. And now we have even a better relationship now than before, because we are able to have those conversations together. But for people who haven't engaged in a conversation with me, I have chosen to not engage with them. And I can love them at the exact same time. Amazing. I love you all supporting each other. Yes, that's so beautiful. Beautiful, yes. Yeah, it took me so long to even realize my family was a trigger. Yeah, awareness is the first thing. Just becoming aware. And to practice the muscle of becoming aware while having compassion for yourself. While not beating yourself up. Right? Like, we all have these triggers. It's part of being a human being during this time. There's survival mechanisms in every single family. It's, you know, it's just passed down until we work on it. All right, just unconscious programming being passed down, so of course we're going to get triggered. Okay, so I'm a caretaker of both my parents for the weekends. How do I integrate the safe place to minimize the triggers while being in the midst of caring for them? So that's a really great question, and that's such a balance that you'll get to find for yourself. If you're a caregiver for your parents, the first thing that comes to mind for me is being very, very intentional about how are you spending your time alone? Are you getting quality time alone to reset your nervous system? Are you giving yourself breaks when you're being a caretaker for your family? Like, that can be such a triggering situation. Oh my goodness, if you're in a caretaker role, if it's temporary, if it's long-term, because everybody's survival stuff is just kind of like turned up 10,000 notches. So everybody's in the whole family, so the parents are scared, the kids are scared, and so like everybody's just shit just comes out to play. So it can be really extra triggering. So the more the triggers, the more the survival stuff is out to play, the more we get to ground. So I'd say, how's your quality time when you're by yourself? Is it quality? Are you doing self-soothing things to calm your nerves? Are you breathing? Are you being really intentional about longer exhales, because that really helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, like soft inhale, big long exhale. Are you taking breaks while you're there? They don't need you, you know, just like every single absolute second. How much time are you carving out for yourself while you are there on the weekends? Just to, even if it's just for like a minute, can you take a minute to go to the bathroom, scream into a towel, release that energy, go into your car, scream, breathe, talk to your inner child, call a friend real quick. What are you doing to reset your nervous system? Oops. Oopsie. This is good. Good. I'm glad this is helping. Let's see. How do you accept your triggers instead of ignoring them? Awareness. Just start becoming aware. And it's really just practicing building the muscle. You know, if you've ignored your triggers all your life, which I totally get it, that's most of us. You know, that's part of a survival mechanism, right? Is to ignore parts of ourselves, is to stay disassociated. So in coming back into association with the body, it takes practice. So maybe start accepting your triggers. Acceptance is a choice to be compassionate. So start becoming aware through the day. Maybe keep a journal with you. I take my journal with me everywhere I go, everywhere. If I forget it, then I have my phone, I can take notes, but I take my journal with me everywhere. And when I first started to become aware, or like when I first started choosing awareness, I would just like it. Usually you can start to feel it in your body first, like usually in your gut or your chest. Like when something doesn't feel good in your viscera, like in your physical body, become aware. Okay, what emotion was with that? Okay, did I just get scared? Did I just get angry? Frustrated? It's like just, you get to be the explorer of your inner landscape. You just get the opportunity to explore for yourself, like what is happening? And then you practice not judging yourself for it. So you're practicing two things at once. And you get to give yourself grace for not being perfect at it, because none of us are. That's never the goal. One of my survivor mechanisms is perfection. So it likes to show up and come out to play and say, you didn't do this healthy thing perfectly. And I get to give it a big hug and say, I love you. But health is not being about perfect. It's okay if you don't know that, but I know that. So just come here and give me a hug. How can you tell if something's triggering you? Yeah. So basically, if you're still on Nicole, Alexia, then pretty much exactly what I just said. How can you tell if something's triggering you? You just get to be the explorer. Start exploring. Take a journal with you. Take a notepad. Take your phone. Make notes. Whatever it takes to just start becoming aware. It's a very conscious choice. This is a lifestyle change. When you start choosing the conscious path, you're choosing to create more space in your life. To slow down and to start becoming aware. Again, bringing awareness to your physical body is a great first start. Do it now. Right here in this moment. Take a body scan. Physically, what do you take a breath? Take a long, slow breath. What are you feeling? Physically in your body. What fits, so like what's tight, what's tense, what feels itchy or scratchy? What feels hard to look at emotionally? Is there anger? Is there frustration? Is there hurt? Is there a longing or loneliness? Is there joy? Is there fear, hurt? So you just get to really start exploring yourself. Write it down. If you really commit to this, you'll start noticing patterns. If you take a journal everywhere you go, or you commit to yourself to really making notes, you'll start to notice a pattern of what triggers you more. Now, this is not easy work. When I started to really do this years ago, I came to the very hard conclusion that my very best friends were actually the ones triggering me the most and didn't feel safe. And I realized that my work was super triggering. There was very little space that I had created in my life where I did actually feel good. And that's a hard thing to get through, but it is that we're shining a flashlight on it for the first time. And only when you shine a flashlight on it, you know, the attic that you never want to clean out, I get it. We moved last year. That shit is bananas. But only by doing that, only by looking in that fucking attic, can you actually clean it out. Be patient. You get to be patient with yourself and give yourself time and space and grace. It's hard work. It's doable. But it's not for the faint. Let's see. Of course, you're welcome. Okay, so good. That's resonating then. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for seeing and witnessing me. And I don't have I don't think I have hurt feelings about that. It was so long ago. Honestly, now I feel more grateful because that was years ago. It was years ago. And by clearing, it was a lot harder at the time, obviously. But clearing that space, now the people in that I have in my life, I'm like, wow, how can it be this good? Yeah, I don't call my best friends my best friends anymore, just long-time ones. Yeah. And relation doesn't mean all relationships have to end. It just means they can drift, they can evolve. I have really, really friends that I would consider my sisters still, but we don't talk. We talk maybe once every few years or so. You know, it's best for all. You know, we've drifted and changed so much. Like, it doesn't mean it has to be a hard close on relationships. It can be. Can be. But it doesn't always mean that. It just means that you're choosing to create space. You're choosing to let things go that don't feel safe. I've seen it for myself now, having walked through it, having let all those friends go. It was very, 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 very hard. but I've seen what's available on the other side now, and it's amazing. There are conscious people out there doing the same work you are who are also looking for you. What you seek is also seeking you. I really believe that. I'm so glad this has been resonant for you all. It's so meaningful to me to connect with you all this way. I love it. Relationships are so important to me. And I'm in relationship with all of you, and I love it. Any more quick questions or insights, or thank you for sharing your heart. If any of you want to dig in, if you really feel like it's time to dig deeper, we have our Queen's Quarters membership, but it's still taking members. That you can see in my story highlights. It's the first story highlight listed. All the info's there. You can book a call with me through the link in my bio. We dig into this, and we do. In the membership, these women are fantastic. And we do embodiment practices because we have to change our physical body to attract something different, to work through triggers, but we do it together in groups. It's 2 deep dive groups with me per month, and a Facebook group where we can chat and everything in the meantime, so you have support. Supportive containers are so important when you actually are ready to make a change in your patterns, work through triggers differently, work through relationships differently, experience what safety actually feels like. That's my #1 goal in our membership, or in any container that we do, is that you get a visceral, so a body knowing of what safety feels like. Because that's what changes your brain. That's when your brain goes, oh, that shit feels good, more of that. And then you'll start seeing more changes on the outside. But it's all through experiential work, and we do a ton of experiential embodiment work. So check it out. It's the Queen's Quarters membership if you feel like it's time for you to dig in deeper. Deep work is my favorite. It is my favorite. I love it. The shadow work, the everything, just like give it to me. I dare you to try to scare me with your shit. So I guarantee you can. I love it. I love all the darkness and all the stuff. So we get in there and we become not afraid of it. And then you're fucking just free. And it's amazing. Yes, you're so welcome. Support is divine. Yes, I have a hard time feeling and asking for support. I hear you. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes, I hear you. Yes, to help with disassociation and other things regarding to that. Yes. God, yes. Yes. Trauma is one of my specialties, and dissociation is a part of that. So with dissociation, you've just coped by learning to escape your bodily experience. Really what dissociation and any unhealthy coping is about is that you learn that your body's just not a safe place to be. Because if you grew up and scary things were happening, you know, like your body was feeling tense a lot and your brain's like, fuck that, I'm leaving. But obviously, you know, that doesn't help you in just life and living life and having healthy relationships. So we do, that's exactly the work I do, is helping you become home in your body again. Not being afraid of any of this, the emotions, the darkness, the pain, the anything. When you just stop being afraid of it, everything becomes available to you. Relationships, joy, just passion. I have chills and shivers. Do you? It becomes available. So yes, absolutely. I feel like my physical body bumps out when my heart hurt. Yes. Physical body bumps out when when something hurts or I've had a rupture. Yes. Yeah, it's all about the physical body. So that's where we do a lot of the work. Right? Yes, it's all about somatic, which means physical body work. Yes. Numbs. Absolutely. Yeah. Physical body numbs. Yep. Another form of dissociation. Yeah. All right. Oh, love you all. Thanks for engaging. Thanks for sharing. Do I also help with attachment styles? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I have had both anxious and anxious and avoidant attachment. I play both. My survivor self likes to do both. So you can be an anxious avoidant like me. And I've drifted over to a much more secure style But I see a lot of both. A lot of the women I help have more anxious attachment styles, but I also see avoidant, or I see both. So absolutely 100%. It's all to do with this same work. You just become, attachment style is like a manifestation of how you needed to cope in your family of origin. So all this really boils back down to just becoming safe and secure within your own body. Because when you create safety there, the universe just starts mirroring that right back to you. You just start being naturally magnetic to relationships that have the capability of being safe also. But you create it here first. Attachment styles is just a way to try to stay safe and alive through relationship. So it requires, like, avoidant is more like, I don't show anything. You know, I hide, I avoid, I just like, nah, it's to protect, it's a self-protective thing. Anxious is more like, I desperately need you. Your brain is basically saying, I desperately need you to stay alive. So we go in, we do the body work to teach your brain, no, you're going to be alive with or without that person. So we can say those words, but saying the words isn't enough. That's why I do body work. To help your body understand that, oh, I'll be alive with or without that person. Huh. And that shifts everything. When your body, and I know the moment it happens with the client, we both feel it, we're like, oh, damn it, yes. Oh. And then things just start changing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Love it. It's, yes, everything in the membership is all in my story. It's the Queen's Quarters is what it's called. So it's the very first story highlight when you go and you see it. It'll say membership and then Queen's Quarters. So details are in there. And then if it sounds good, then go to the link in my bio and you book a call with me. You get a free mini session out of it. So this is my gift. So whatever comes out of it, you at least have that to see if it's right for you. So yes, it's amazing. The women that are in it right now are just like, it's the exact container that I would have wanted back in the day when I was really having a hard time. These women are just nothing but love, and they're working through these exact same things. Our last call was bonkers, like with the shifting and the healing. And they're all in the Facebook group, like, oh my God, like what showed up for you guys and blah, blah, blah. Like having a container is just like, having been a part of my own now too, I'm like, oh, it's all about having support. The flies are loving this. Yeah. This is also magnetic, so all the bugs are like, woo, yummy. Sounds like see, I love how it sounds like a velvet walled room that's calm and respectful. Yeah, I love that. Oh, it's so beautiful. Safe container. Yes, I love that. Oh, and like very queenly too, right? A velvet walled room that's calm and respectful. Yes, safe container. Because it's through safe containers that you learn in your body what safety can feel like and should feel like in relationships. Safety, it just calms the nervous system down. Yes. Oh, this has been beautiful. It's filled me up. It always does. I love connecting with you. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. I do this every Monday, unless I tell you ahead of time that I'm on vacation or something. Every Monday at this time. The replay will be posted right after, so you can watch it to your heart's content. And I love you, each and every one of you, and thank you so much for being here. Seriously, I love community and relationship. It's the biggest thing in my life, and I love to do it with all of you. So thanks so much for being here, for sharing your heart, for asking questions, for engaging. Everything you ask is in direct contribution to everybody else. Safety and support having in relationships. Yes. Yes, Juliana, watch that replay. This one has been like amazing. You're so welcome. Loving all of you. Who else is feeling Leo season? I'm like, have a wonderful day, you all. Love you. Love, love.